Welcome to the Privacy Report. We're talking about that moment, the one you get when you finally find public Wi-Fi at an airport or a coffee shop. You slide that little VPN button to on, and for most of us, that click, it feels like we've just become invisible, totally safe from any prying eyes.
That feeling is so powerful, but um, it's often an illusion.
An illusion.
Yeah. Today, we're kind of pulling back the curtain on these open networks. Because while a VPN is, and I want to be clear, absolutely crucial for encrypting your traffic,
Right.
the dangers waiting on public Wi-Fi often exist completely outside that protective tunnel.
So our mission today is pretty clear then. We need to identify the exact security holes that are left open, even when you're running a really good premium VPN.
And then give you a definitive, actionable strategy, a way to actually harden your devices.
We're looking for that multi-layered defense that actually works now in 2024.
Definitely. And before we really get into the anatomy of a network attack, just a reminder for everyone listening, if you want deeper context on this or links to some of the specific tools we might mention, you can subscribe to our email newsletter. It's at theprivacyreport.net.
Okay, so let's start with that fundamental problem you mentioned, the illusion of protection. We have to just accept that public Wi-Fi is, by its nature, hostile. It's an open party line.
It is. The moment you connect, the network owner, or frankly, any sophisticated attacker nearby, can observe or even try to interfere with the unencrypted parts of your connection.
And this is where the VPN's job description sort of hits a wall.
That's precisely it. Its core function is what we call transport layer security. It creates that secure encrypted pipe between you and the VPN provider's server.
So it protects my data while it's in motion.
Exactly, in motion. But it completely ignores the security of your device right there on the local network.
Okay, so if my traffic is encrypted, how can a local attacker still mess with me? What are they even targeting if not the data itself?
They're targeting the network fundamentals, the connection flow. A perfect example of this is something called ARP spoofing.
ARP spoofing, okay.
It's a classic local network attack. Think of it this way. Every device on a shared network uses a kind of a local address book. It's called the ARP table. It maps names to locations. An attacker can digitally whisper to your computer, "Hey, I'm the router. Send all your traffic to me first."
And my device just believes it.
It complies. And even though your VPN keeps the content encrypted, the attacker now controls the flow of that encrypted traffic. They get crucial metadata, they can do timing analysis, maybe even block certain things.
Wow. That's genuinely terrifying. It's like a digital misdirection happening right under the surface,
It is.
making the attacker an unwitting middleman for our own encrypted data. And there's the part that really surprised me. The information that leaks, even when the VPN is perfectly set up and running, that's the metadata problem, right? The persistent identifiers.
That's the enduring weakness. The VPN encrypts the content of your data stream, but it does absolutely nothing to hide your device's physical and logical presence on that network.
So people on the network can still see what?
They still see your device's MAC address, which is basically its hardware fingerprint. They see your device name, like John's MacBook Pro, and they see the specific timing and volume of your traffic.
We focus so much on the content of our data that we just forget the context is often just as valuable.
It really is.
Even when you're browsing with HTTPS, which we all assume is fully secure, the network operator can still see the domain name you're trying to reach if you aren't careful.
Exactly. They see the IP address your encrypted tunnel is connecting to, which often, resolves pretty quickly to a known domain. They know when you connected, how long you stayed, and how much data you transferred.
And that correlation alone, especially if they see your MAC address pop up again later, is incredibly powerful for tracking your behavior.
Building a user profile across different locations.
Yeah. So we've established that the local network is actively profiling us through metadata and targeting our connection flow. Let's categorize the actual threats you need to be watching out for. What are the common tools of the trade?
These techniques are actively used today, and they work because they exploit the device connection itself. The first, and maybe the most pervasive, are evil twin hotspots.
The fake network with a deceptively legitimate name, like hotel guest Wi-Fi or airport free Wi-Fi.
Right. The attacker sets it up specifically to lure you in, relying on trust and convenience. They're the digital version of a classic con.
And the key point here is that a VPN can't stop you from connecting to it in the first place.
Can't. Your device just sees a familiar or logical network name, and it connects silently, often automatically if you've connected to a network with the same name before. You're routing all your traffic through a bad actor before the VPN tunnel is even up.
which means the attacker can just capture any non-VPN traffic, harvest all that device metadata we talked about, and maybe even interfere with the VPN setup itself. Okay, number 2. The insidious nature of captive portal tracking.
Yes.
We all treat these login screens as just a necessary hassle, but they're way more invasive than that.
They're data collection script factories. Before you even get access to the internet, that captive portal is loaded locally on your device. And many places or malicious networks use this exact moment to embed analytics, ad tech, or deep device fingerprinting scripts.
So they're building a profile of my device.
Aggressively. What kind of device, your screen resolution, installed fonts, all before your secure tunnel is even running.
So they're establishing a tracking profile before I've even started checking my email. That's a really critical distinction. The data extraction happens before the secure tunnel is formed.
Exactly.
And finally, we have to worry about the other people sharing the network with us, the risk of lateral movement.
That's the risk inherent in any shared, often poorly segmented network. If you haven't properly configured your device for system isolation, someone else sitting 2 tables over with some basic security tools could be probing your laptop or phone for open services.
Like file sharing or remote access.
Right. If you have any of that enabled, you are essentially inviting trouble from your fellow patrons.
And of course, the fundamental risk of just hitting an old, non-secure site, intercept and inject attacks.
This happens when a local attacker modifies traffic on sites that are not secured by HTTPS. And while most of the web is thankfully encrypted now,
It's not 100%.
not at all. If you get redirected to an old HTTP page, an attacker on that local Wi-Fi can inject malicious JavaScript or unwanted content directly into your session. The Wi-Fi network becomes the perfect launchpad for that attack.
So we've identified the threats. The invisible tracking, the fake networks, the system probing. It's pretty clear that just relying on a VPN is dangerously insufficient.
It is.
This brings us to the paradigm shift. The essential defenses that go beyond the VPN. This has to be a larger, multi-layered strategy.
It absolutely starts with hardening the core system. You have to begin at the operating system level. The first mandatory step is activating strong firewall rules.
On every device.
On every single device, phone, laptop, doesn't matter. You must enable the system-level firewall and configure it to strictly block all inbound connections when you identify that network as public. Your device should be deaf and invisible to everyone else sharing that bandwidth.
That sounds like mandatory baseline hygiene. Okay, next up is killing a feature we all rely on for convenience, the auto-join function.
That convenience is a serious vulnerability, especially because of evil twins. You have to disable auto-join for open networks.
So you prevent those silent automatic connections to malicious clones?
Exactly. You need to explicitly approve every single public network connection. Give yourself a chance to verify the name and its security.
And then there is a crucial modern defense against that physical tracking we talked about, AMIS address randomization. This is a feature everyone listening should go and check is enabled right now. How does it actively fight that tracking risk?
It essentially turns a persistent tracker into a temporary observer. When you enable MAC randomization, and most modern systems support it, your device doesn't broadcast its fixed, unique hardware address every time it connects.
It generates a new one.
A new randomized address just for that session. This means the coffee shop, the airport, or an attacker can't track your physical device over 3 days or across different hotspots because your hardware identifier keeps resetting.
That dramatically limits their ability to build a long-term profile on you. Okay, moving on from system settings, let's talk about traffic hardening, specifically in the browser.
The browser absolutely needs its own defensive configuration. First, make sure HTTPS enforcement is active. Use the native modes in browsers like Firefox or Chrome that guarantee your device tries to use HTTPS for every connection.
That eliminates the vulnerability to those basic intercept and inject attacks on non-secure sites.
Oh.
But enforcing HTTPS, that only encrypts the content and the endpoint. It doesn't hide my initial request for the website address.
And that's the DNS leak problem.
So we need to implement encrypted DNS.
This is a sophisticated but I'd say mandatory defense now. Standard DNS queries are just unencrypted plain text. The local Wi-Fi provider or a nearby attacker knows the exact address of the site you're trying to visit before your VPN tunnel even finishes connecting.
But by using DNS over HTTPS or DOH,
Or DNS over TLS, AOT. You shield that address lookup, that vital metadata about your intentions, inside another encrypted session. It provides a vital layer of darkness for your browsing.
That's such a key detail that I think a lot of people miss. They assume the VPN hides everything, but if their DNS queries are still broadcasting your intentions, the local network knows a lot.
It knows way too much.
We also need to restrict the sheer volume of data going out.
Absolutely. Reducing background noise is essential. When you're on public Wi-Fi, just restrict unnecessary network activity. Turn off cloud sync for large files, disable app auto updates, pause your system backups,
You reduce the overall volume of exposed metadata.
and you restrict the surface area for potentially compromised data transfers.
And finally, actually using specialized, privacy-respecting browsers. The ones designed to actively fight fingerprinting.
Yes, these tools are built to minimize the unique identifying characteristics your device broadcasts. Your screen size, installed fonts, configuration data, they're designed to make you harder to distinguish from millions of other users.
Now, if all of these multi-layered steps seem a bit daunting, there's an excellent, simpler, and frankly safer alternative, especially when you're handling truly sensitive info.
Just use your mobile hotspot.
It's the estate patch.
It really is. Generally, mobile data is safer because cellular networks provide authenticated encrypted radio links by default. You completely bypass the entire local public Wi-Fi infrastructure.
Which eliminates the risks from evil twins, captive portals, and other local users entirely.
All of it gone.
Excellent practical advice, but let's assume you have to use the venue's Wi-Fi. We've put together a quick 5-point mental checklist for you to evaluate the network before you connect.
This is your pre-connection safety check. Number 1. Does the network require a password, or is it truly wide open? If it's open, the risk is automatically higher. Proceed with extreme caution.
Okay.
2. Look closely at that captive portal. Does it demand excessive personal information, like a phone number or your full email, just to get online? That's a serious red flag for data collection.
3. Check the list of available networks. Is the network name suspiciously similar to another one nearby? If you see 2 different City Library Guest SSIDs, be very wary. That could be an evil twin.
Good one.
Yeah.
4. Just consider your location. Are you in a high-risk area, a major airport terminal, a huge public conference, a busy train station? Attackers love these dense environments.
And 5. If you do connect anyway, quickly visit a major, well-known HTTPS site. Do you see any unusual certificate errors or security warnings in your browser? If you do, that means the network might be actively interfering with security. Disconnect immediately.
And the overall advice is consistent. When in doubt,
Switch to your phone's hotspot.
just do it.
Now, this whole strategy relies on using trustworthy tools. What are we recommending as some strategic components for executing this defense?
When you're selecting tools, you have to prioritize transparency, security track records, and independent audits. For instance, for your VPN, your secure transport layer, services like Proton VPN or Mulvad are known to be very security-focused.
Right, they have strong privacy policies.
And for browser hardening, the Mulvad browser, which was developed in partnership with the Tor project, is designed specifically to reduce fingerprintability.
And for that encrypted DNS layer,
A service like NextDNS is great. It allows you to implement DOH or DOT alongside some really powerful tracking protection filters. It directly insulates your address lookups.
so these aren't silver bullets. They are strategic components in an overall architecture of defense.
Exactly. They have to work together. They cover the system level, the transport level, and the application level.
This whole conversation has really underscored a fundamental point for me. The time for passive defense is over.
It is.
Open Wi-Fi environments leak metadata from MA addresses to traffic timing, and a VPN alone just cannot solve that device isolation problem. You have to take proactive control of your system settings.
The key takeaway is that you have to marry encrypted transport, that's the VPN, with aggressive system hardening. Specifically, those system-level firewalls and MA randomization. It's about being invisible both on the wire and on the local physical network.
So here is the immediate provocative action for you to take today. Don't wait until you're rushing to connect on your next trip. Audit your device's public network settings right now.
Today.
Find those firewall rules, disable auto-join for open networks, and ensure MA randomization is enabled. Do this fundamental system work now so you are already secure for your next public connection.
That is a critical step. Thank you for tuning in to the Privacy Report. And if you found this discussion valuable, please like and subscribe wherever you listen.
And as always, we want to disclose that this discussion was made with the assistance of AI.